Right, so Marvel's Avengers has new content, also has new problems. I'm gonna title this video the Cosmic Cube event, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because there is all three in this event. It's not just all good, it's not just all bad, and it's certainly got some ugly in there as well. I'm going to start off with the bad stuff, the worst stuff, because trust me, every time there's been a new content drop for Marvel's Avengers, there's always been at least one problem, and the one problem with this is the worst problem a game can actually have, especially in the modern age. For PS5 users only, for like the first day, I believe the issue has been resolved now, but for the first 24 hours of the game being live, of the villain sector being live on PS5 only, the game was showing your IP address, and it wasn't just in one place on the screen, it flashes all over the screen. Thankfully this didn't affect me, didn't affect my charity streams that I'm doing over on Twitch TV / Luke Does Stuff, but for other Twitch streamers, other content creators that do play on PS4, do play on PS5, this isn't a PS4 problem. I got on fine with this and I had a lot of fun with it. But for PS5 users, especially those who want to take screenshots, who wanted to stream it day one, they couldn't do that for risk of being DDoSed or having people that watch their streams find their house. That's a massive issue. As a game, how does that get in? How does that get in? Something that actively puts your player base and the people who are supporting your game by creating Instagram accounts about it, by streaming it on Twitch, by playing it on YouTube, it actively puts them in danger. It actively endangers your player base by having a glitch that you could have just said, right, we're delaying the release of this content on PS5, because if we release it in the state that it's in, it will put players in danger. Because that's what this can do. It can endanger your player base by getting them DDoSed, by getting people use their IP address for malicious intent. It could, in the most extreme case, it could get them swatted on stream. It could get them swatted off stream, and it could get them. They could have that one crazy guy watching their stream who finds their IP address, finds their actual address, and goes to their house. That is the reality of something like this. If you're going to stream a game on Twitch, if you're going to put yourself in that scenario, and this just makes it all that easier for some crazy person to find out where that person lives, to find out where that streamer lives. It puts them in so much danger. Thankfully, they managed to fix that problem in 24 hours, like I said. It shouldn't have been released with that issue in the first place, because now IGN sees that all the big gaming news outlets and all the big comic book news outlets, because this is a comic book video game as well, they've already made articles about this. How much? This is really bad publicity for a game that's already tanking and already waiting for its big small minority of players that get affected by this, but also these are the people that are selling the game. These are the people that are getting eyes onto the game, and letting something like this into the game shows really bad faith and shows really bad will towards the people supporting your game. It does. I don't want to say that that's the reason why it was left in, but I very much doubt that the people making Marvel's Avengers are incompetent. I doubt that the people making Avengers wanted to put their player base in danger. But this is an oversight that should never have happened, and it's an oversight that if anyone were to stream this on PS5, not knowing that there was an issue, and then for 1 second their IP address pops up, if they're a big streamer, or even if they're a small streamer, see, if they're a small streamer, they're probably in even more danger. Because, there's a whole conversation about that this video is not about. This video is mainly about the actual content itself. And the content itself, I'm going to talk about what's bad about it, the content itself, not the situation around the content release. If you want to talk about the situation around the content release, I have a Discord, I have YouTube comments, I have links, I have Instagram, I have everything else. You can talk to me directly over Twitter, on Twitch, about it, over at Twitch TV/Luke1Does2 stuff. And we can have some fun talking about this massive oversight over there. But the main content itself is really fun. It's really good, and it really sucks that some people, the people that are playing the best version of the game, couldn't see it day one. And also because it's story related, those people probably got spoiled as well. Because 24 hours is still a lot of time for people to post stuff on Twitter, for example, Twitter, YouTube, etc., and showing off the cool new cutscenes and the cool new story and interesting stuff that happens at the end of this that I won't get into until the end of the video. There will be a spoiler warning. There are spoilers for Marvel's Avengers, for the Cosmic Cube, end of Future Imperfect, whatever this is, thing. It does kind of tee off nicely into War for Wakanda. I do like that, and overall it's a very clean story as well. It does end the AIM stuff, which I'm fine with. I'm cool with that. I, like most of the players, am getting sick of robots, and I hope that there's more human goons or more alien goons, or we can start to see more of the Kree getting involved, and to get that story rolling, like, more and more. But I don't know when the plan for that is actually going to come ahead, because right now I don't think Wakanda is going to have anything to do with the Kree. I don't think War for Wakanda is going to have anything to do with the Kree. I think it's specifically just Claw. It's just taking down Claw. Killmonger might be there, Man-Ape might be there, and there might be other Black Panther villains as well. But I think it's just dealing with Claw. I don't think Ultron will be there. There is some shady stuff at the end of in the final cutscene of this that may be leading towards Ultron, maybe leading towards the negative zone, maybe leading towards whatever. Some cool stuff anyway, and Hank Pym is working on the Cosmic Cube. Hank Pym has the Cosmic Cube, Roy is interested in the Cosmic Cube. Ultron is the obvious thing that's coming out of that. But anyways, my biggest problem, but I'll get onto the story stuff later. My biggest problem with this is length. Once again, I know it was only marketed as a villain sector, and as for a villain sector, it's the longest villain sector we've got. It's nearly an hour long. the entirety of the snowy tundra, and then fighting one of the best boss fights, or if not the best boss fight that we've got in the game so far. It has mechanics, stages, it's difficult, she has a one-hit kill move, it's the whole 9 yards. It's a really well put together fight, and it's the standard for what other fights should be going forward, and hopefully that's what Core is like. Core is like an evolution of what Monica was. I'm really hyped about what they can do with boss fights going forward, and with this just being a villain sector boss, what a raid boss is going to look like. Raid bosses are going to be basically just a bigger version of this. That's amazing. That's what I want to see. The thing is, you can cheese it with Hawkeye, but you can cheese everything with Hawkeye. And you don't cheese it that much, because she does have, like, a little bit of time where you can just wail on her, and then an invincibility period, then wail an invincibility period. But I'll go into the mechanics of everything later as well. I just want to talk about the actual length of it. I would have personally preferred if this was truly a part 2 of Future Imperfect. I would have preferred this to be a standalone expansion. Not a standalone expansion, a standalone operation. Like, I would have preferred a few missions before actually going to the snowy tundra to fight Monica. I would have liked some more setup towards this, because they do end up, massive spoilers here, but they do kill off future Hawkeye, and just the way that they do that, because the Future Imperfect story was so short, and because we didn't see much of him in that, it doesn't really make the impact I feel like they wanted it to in this, and it doesn't make the impact that you don't feel that kind of oh shit, and you don't feel what Hawkeye's feeling, because you haven't spent enough time with Hawkeye yet, you haven't spent enough time with Old Man Hawkeye yet, you haven't even spent enough time with Kate yet to get inside their heads and to see how they're feeling in that moment. And that's the biggest problem for me, is that the game doesn't give itself enough time to actually build on the story threads that it presents. It gives you a character that could be interesting, and that, like, you even get a section where you play as Old Man Hawkeye for the start of the Future Imperfect operation, but at no point does the game actively make you care, or it tries to make you care or expects you to care just because of who these characters are. It doesn't make you care about this version of each character. It just makes you care because it's Hawkeye. It makes you care because it's Kate Bishop, because it's Iron Man, because it's Captain America. And it doesn't make you care about this game's version of those characters. Again, the rest of the Avengers have nothing to do in this. Kate doesn't even have much to do. It's literally just the Clint Barton show. And that kind of needs to end, hopefully with War for Wakanda. Hopefully War for Wakanda we can have 3 hours Black Panther on his own, 3 hours the rest of the Avengers. Hopefully that's how it goes. I want at least 6 hours of War for Wakanda. If it's any less than that, I'll be disappointed. I'll be disappointed if it's any less than that. 6 to 8 hours is my sweet spot with an expansion, especially one that is War for Wakanda. I don't think Ultron's going to be in it that soon. I think they're definitely leading up to Ultron, especially with the end of this. And that's another thing as well. I feel like I care more about Hank Pym than I do the actual Avengers. Probably because Hank Pym's had something to do in every operation so far. In the main story, he was quite a big part of it. In the first operation, he was quite a big part of it. In the second operation, he had a role to play, and he's a summon as well. So I care more about Hank Pym, even though he's not even a playable character, than I do the rest of the Avengers that are playable. I care about Kamala because she had the majority of the story. I care about Tony because he's had stuff to do as well. I don't care about Cap, I don't care about Thor. I prefer the version of Bruce Banner that this game presents. I just wish he had a bit more depth outside of his relationship with Monica. And I feel like he definitely should have had something to do in this, because he did have a relationship with Monica. There's definitely stuff to do there. There's a story to be told there. There's a story in there. There's a story that everyone had in there. It's just why did they choose to explore it with Clint and not any other character? That's my biggest problem with this, is that the Avengers don't feel like a team anymore yet. And it's been 3 expansions, and this is supposed to be a lived-in world. But it doesn't feel this team, these characters don't feel like characters yet. They just feel like action figures that you get to play with. And that's fun and all, but they don't feel like characters yet. They just feel like things there to give you something to play with. And I want Warful Canada to actually make these characters feel like characters. When I care about Captain America, when I care about Thor, when I care about Iron Man a bit more than I already do, I want to see what these characters, what makes these characters different from the movie, what makes these characters different from cartoons, different from the comics, different from what makes these Marvel's Avengers, what makes this the Marvel's Avengers version of Captain America. Why should I care about this Captain America more than the one in the movies? Why should I care about this Captain America in a different way than the one in the movies? Give me a reason to care about Captain America more than just, oh, he's Captain America. You recognise the character, don't you? You already care about him. No, I don't, because this is a different version of Captain America. Make him different. That's been my biggest flaw with the story of this game than anything else. It's just there's never been enough time to breathe. And this especially, because it's one mission. It's a really good mission, but it is like. So the analogy that I made on stream about it is, imagine if you make a curry, right? Or imagine if you order a curry at like a curry house, and they only give you, or like a curry restaurant, Korean restaurant, and they only give you the meat and the sauce. They don't give you any rice, they don't give you any onion bhaji, samosas, poppadoms, naan bread. They don't give you anything like that, they just give you the chicken and the sauce. It could be the best chicken and sauce you've ever had. It could be the best meat and sauce that you've ever had. The most spices, the most flavour. They could have cooked this chicken really, really well. They could have, done anything. They could have put their heart and soul into this chicken and sauce. But at the end of it, you've eaten something delicious, but you're not full. That's the biggest problem that I had at the end of this. Is I just played through something really fun. The devs clearly put their heart and soul into this, but I wasn't full at the end of it. I wasn't filling. It was delicious. I enjoyed every second of it, but it was but by the time that I just started getting into it, it was the closing cutscene. That's my biggest issue with this, is it feels like it's the most delicious meal you could ever have, but it's not filling. It doesn't have any of the side dishes. It's literally just chicken sauce. Best sauce ever, best chicken ever, but you're not full at the end of it. That's my biggest complaint with this, and hopefully with War for Wakanda, because of what War for Wakanda is meant to be, I can feel full when I'm done with that. Hopefully by the time that I'm done with that, I can feel like I've had a full banquet. I will feel at the end of that like I've been through an infinity. That's what I want. I want an endless breakfast. I want all the trimmings, everything. Why does everything have to be a food analogy with me? It's a really weird analogy, but I hope you understand what I'm talking about. I want to talk about the actual story implications with this. So, like I said, they kill off future Hawkeye, and they seemingly kill off Monica as well. Kingpin now has the Cosmic Cube. Roy seems interested with it. That seems like it's definitely leading towards Ultron at some point. Ultron, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Do him for your next big villain when you're done with the Kree. Finish the Kree storyline, get to about a year, get to about September of next year, and then you can finally pay off Ultron. Build him up like he's Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but make him the Thanos of your Avengers game, and the payoff will make everyone all the more interested. Because the biggest problem that this game has at the moment, when it's not giving out your personal information, the biggest problem with this game is that the main enemy type are robots. Everything's a robot. Aimbots. There's only like a few human characters, and they're the characters you fight the least. But most of the characters are robots, and they're not fun to fight. They're not interesting. Give us a few more factions that are not robotic in nature, and then we can start talking Ultron, who is another robot that will have robot drones that you'll have to fight. Give us the Kree, end your Kree storyline, and then we can start talking about Ultron. Ultron needs to be done well. He needs to be done amazingly, and he needs to be given time, and you need to give the player base time away from robots to actually make them interested. Because Ultron, big robot, robotic character, the player base hates robots, they're sick of robots at this point. So give us villains and factions that aren't robotic. Give us the Claw faction, give us the Kree, give us Skrulls, give us Hydra at this point, give us anything and everything, and then do Ultron, and then after Ultron, Kang. This is the game to do everything but Thanos. Do everything but Thanos. You have a whole universe of villains and characters that you can draw inspiration from, and because you didn't use that many because you didn't use the big ones in the main story, because you didn't even use that many in the main story, you left off the most interesting ones, and because you haven't been using that many interesting ones at this point, then yeah, you have so much potential that you can get to before going straight back to big robots. That's my kind of thing. But my predictions for the story segment of War for Wakanda is obviously the Avengers are they probably saw in the future that they're probably going to try and get upgrades for Roy. They're probably going to try and get upgrades for Roy by getting vibranium. Vibranium's in Wakanda. While they're in Wakanda, there's a big explosion, big fighting. They find out about the Black Panther, and Black Panther joins the Avengers. They fight Claw. They probably fight some other better. I don't want Ultron in War for Wakanda. I don't think he works there. I think if you're going to put Ultron in, you introduce Ultron with Vision. Put Vision in, basically have that be an expansion where it basically works out like the Age of Ultron movie, where Ultron gets created, you fight Ultron, and then Ultron kicks the shit out of all of you, and then he goes to fight to make Vision. Vision kicks his butt. Vision joins your team at the end. That's an operation, or that's expansion in and of itself. And then Vision joins your team, and then it goes into a raid where you fight different marks of Ultron and ending with Ultron Prime. That feels really interesting. You can do whatever you want after that. But I feel like Ultron, you need to coincide with Vision or Ant-Man. Not Ant-Man's more Yellow Jacket, because they're probably going to do Scott Lang. They're probably going to do Scott Lang in this game, because Hank Pym kind of wants the table, especially with him now being a summon as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for Wakanda after this. This is really good content. This is the kind of stuff we need keeping in the game, and other Black Panther affiliated villains there as well. Apologies again, my camera keeps running out of storage space. Yeah, this is the perfect kind of content we need. To get exactly what Lost by Wakanda should look like, if not better. Yeah, this is perfect content. This is perfect content for if the game was like a really good start. Had a lot of content to do. This is perfect. This is perfect piece of content. Unfortunately, we're not at that point, and it's just this is very style of substance. There's a lot of stuff to it. There's a lot of stuff. The boss itself is really interesting, really fun. Really beautiful to look at as well. The environment is amazing, it's stunning. And there's some new environments just leading up to the boss fight as well. And hopefully they do start having just more missions to do than just exploring areas. And hopefully they do keep adding those sectors like this in the game as well. Like just ones that don't necessarily need to come with a character, but ones that kind of lead the story forward a little bit without being an operation, without being an expansion as well. Hopefully this is an upward trend for Marvel Avengers. want these videos. I want to make one of these videos about Marvel's Avengers that is wholly positive. It's just unfortunately you can't. Unfortunately, at this point, that's just not possible. There's always something. There's always something with this game, and I want there to be a point where there is nothing with this game, or where that something is good, where that something is, amazing, where that something is really positive towards the game and really helps sell the game and really helps make the game a better. Like I was saying, I want there to be something positive with the game. I think I will have to end it off here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully I see you guys in my streams as well over on Twitch TV/Luke1does2 stuff. See you in the next one. Peace.